CL Brown, Louisville Courier-Journal. Rick, does New Mexico remind you of any team that you guys have played? I mean, some of the guys were just comparing them, saying it might be a Big East style game tomorrow.
I think so. They don't. Nothing comes to mind who they remind me of, but they're very physical. They play great defense. They shoot the ball extremely well. Yeah, I do expect, although it wasn't officiated like a Big East game yesterday.
Rick, Mark Smith, Albuquerque Journal. The fact that you guys play so many different teams in the Big East, how much does that help prepare you guys for different looks in a tournament format?
Well, I think it does that, and I also think it helps you as a coach really watch so many different styles and how to go against it. We see a lot of 1-3-1, in which you don't see too much anymore. And Davidson was going to play a little 1-3-1. They never played it yesterday. You see a lot of full court pressure. You see teams like South Florida, which will slow it down. You see a Georgetown Princeton style play. So you see it all. Then you see, of course, the smash mouth teams like Pittsburgh and West Virginia. So you see all different styles, and it prepares you.
Van Tate, KRQE in Albuquerque. Coach, how do you think you all match up with New Mexico?
Well, I think in some areas we match up well, and other areas we do not. I think there's strengths and weaknesses that we have with them, and certainly there's weaknesses that we've got to overcome.
Coach, Lee Faria from KOB-TV in Albuquerque. If you could put your finger on one thing alone, and say, we have to do this to be successful tomorrow, what would that be?
I really don't think it can be one thing, because I think they pose so many problems. You know, they're a really good outside shooting team, and if you concentrate too much on that, Gordon will have his way too much inside. They're also, I think, we're both a top 5 field goal defensive team in the nation, so points may be difficult to come by. So, you know, I think that's what makes New Mexico so tough, is the fact that you can't put your finger on one thing. There are some teams that you can do that. You know, we played yesterday with Davidson. Our mindset was, if they get in transition, they're going to make threes. They're going to get to the foul line. So we've got to keep them out of transition. And our guys did a tremendous job. When a team scores 78 points a game, top 5 scoring teams in the country, and they only have 2 fast breaks the entire night, and they're 0 for 2, that was great focus by our team. But I'm not sure we can do that with New Mexico, because they have so many different weapons.
Rick, why King Jones, we're all going to make a big deal of it being New Mexico guys. How much has he helped your staff? How much will he help you for this preparation of this game? And just give us a little bit about what he's been like as a person for you.
Well, he can't hurt, obviously, because he recruited some of the players, knows the guys, knows their personalities of when they could get down or when they could be up. But we're going to watch probably over 20 games on tape. Against Davidson, I personally watched 9. My son's going to watch every game that New Mexico will play. So we're going to have a good feel for them in an abbreviated point, but he gives us things, a feel that we wouldn't normally get, because he knows the personality of the players. He's a delightful person. He's more of a West Coast laid-back guy than what we're used to. But he's very much knows what he's doing, very good recruiter, very good with big men. So we're excited to have him on our staff.
Pat Doney, WDRB-TV in Louisville. Rick, Russ was talking about the team meeting during that 2-4 stretch back in February, and how far he thinks the team has come since then. What have you noticed that has changed as a team, and how far do you think they have come since that stretch in February?
Well, according to you all, not much, because when we lost to South Florida and Syracuse, you didn't think we were very good. So I don't believe in those team meetings. I saw 50 of them in the NBA. And if you come out and you lose, they say the team meeting sucked. If you go out and win a couple, the team meeting was great. It all depends whether you win or lose coming out of the team meetings. So You know, I think team meetings are good when everybody realizes you got to dig deeper and work harder to improve. But, you know, it's when you're in the Big East, unless you're Syracuse this year, who had a dominant team, you're just going to have your peaks and valleys. It's just part of the game. We had our peaks and valleys. We've had our injuries, and now we're healthy, and now we're at a peak moment. So, you know, we won the Big East tournament, which was great, but we ended the season in a valley, losing a senior night as well as Syracuse.
We'll go here with CL and then over here.
Rick, what's it going to take to keep Gorgie out of foul trouble? And you talk about the lift that Jarrett has given you, you know, Big East tournament till now coming in.
You know, to be honest with you, CL, and you saw the replay of the first foul. I mean, Gorgie just has had a lot of bad luck with the whistle this year. And, you know, he had 2 fouls that didn't exist yesterday. And it just happens that way. We've had other players that foul the hell out of somebody and they get away with it. So he's just been unlucky with that. You know, he had a good clean block yesterday. A lot of times officials struggle with great shot blockers. They do. And so, you know, I think every game's different. Yesterday he was unlucky with that, had a great block shot. The third foul didn't seem to be there. And so, you know, I don't know what to say. There are other games where he's fouled the guy and he's gotten away with it. You know, I think sometimes, and I don't mean to bring it up with referees, but I think we're all making too much of referees. It's part of the game, human error. I ref games. It's the toughest thing in the world. But you're looking on TV right now. They go into the head of the officials and let's go over the call. And you know, I don't think that should exist in basketball. I don't think we should go to, unless there's an interpretation problem of the rule, I think we need to stay away from that because when you referee the game of basketball, it's difficult. It's difficult. So I think we need to sort of stay away from that. And now we're going, I don't like what they're doing. Everybody's questioning officials. They don't have what football has. They can't go to the monitor all the time, you know. So I think we need to get away from them. But answering your question with Gorgie, he just got some bad calls and he got put on the bench because of it.
Rick, David Moore, USA Today. In watching the tapes, what strikes you about number 10, Kendall Williams?
Well, he can do a lot of different things, and he's a very good passer, very good off the bounce. He's got a terrific all-around game. He's very dangerous weapon. He's very active, very active. You know, they've got a deep basketball team. You know, they got a lot of parts to them. And, you know, when you look at their ball club, I think Fran Fraschilla said it best when I was watching. He said, you know, not because I coach there, but this is a Final Four team I'm looking at. And that was his dark horse to go to a Final Four team. And any time somebody says that, you know they have a lot of parts to their basketball team.
Coach Matt Calkins with the Columbian. What have you thought about this Rose Garden atmosphere so far? And now that there's a vacancy in the Trailblazers coaching position, would you ever consider making Portland a full-time stop?
Yeah, I really want the job. I really like to get out here. The weather's just knocked me over, and I really would like to start losing again. So I'm dying to coach.
Coach Annie Peterson from AP. It seemed that you kind of limped into the Big East tournament, and then some kind of light bulb kind of went off. How would you characterize what happened to you guys, and was there a moment that you saw a switch in your team?
You know, we really didn't limp in. Like I said about peaks and valleys, I said to our team, look, guys, I can't do anything about the pace right now because we're going to play slow. South Florida is going to make us play slow, and we have to go at Syracuse on senior night. And if we run with them in their building, we may lose our confidence. So we're going to play in 2 slow-down games. But I promise you, once we get to the Big East tournament, we will press and run and get back to the way we play. So it all depends on you know, I've gone through this with our fans and our media now for 7, 8 years. We go through a February stretch where we lose 3 games and they think we're no good. And then I said, look, we win 7 out of 8. It's tough because our fans just don't understand the Big East and what it's all about. The Big East is, you'll have peaks and valleys. if you look at the schedule, you'll sort of be able to pick it out. So we always stayed positive. We wound up winning 22 games. And with all our injuries, it was a heck of a season with a top 10 schedule. So we never really, when we were 12-0, I never really thought we were that great. And when we started losing, I never thought we were that bad. We stayed even keel, and we went into the Big East tournament ready to play.
Steve Kelly, Seattle Times. Coach, could you talk about the evolution of Peyton Siva from when you first saw him to where he is today?
Well, when we recruited him, he was known as a combo guard, great athlete, really wasn't a point guard per se. And he really didn't have a great regular season. He struggled this year. And I called him in and said, look, Peyton, I'm going to tell you why you're struggling, because you just play at one pace extremely fast. And because of that, you have a lot of turnovers because you don't know how to probe and change your pace and create things because you play at one speed. And we showed him a tape of Steve Nash and how Steve always probes and gets in the lane and keeps his dribble and comes back and does something else. And that, more than anything else, really changed his mindset of learning how to change speeds. And he's been brilliant in the Big East tournament, brilliant yesterday with doing that. And for someone to make that abrupt change like that and really just visualize himself doing that speaks about his basketball IQ in a big way.
Follow up down here.
Your son said that you said that Peyton might be the best person you've ever coached. Could you elaborate on that?
He is, Peyton's what I call, and sometimes it hurts him, he's a pleaser. I call him all the time. He just wants to please his coach, please his mom, please his dad, please his girlfriend, please. And I told him, I finally called, I said, Peyton, you need to stop pleasing people right now. And he's just such an incredible, nice young man. You know, he's very spiritual. I've got 6 guys on my team that go to Bible study every week. You know, last year I'd go down and see what the guys are watching on their sets, and 6 of them were reading the Bible. And I asked them, I said, what are you guys doing there? Most guys are sleeping. They said, no, we go to Bible study once a week, and Peyton's the leader of the group. And so he's an unusual person in that regard. He likes to please everybody. If he's speaking with you, you'll walk away with just such a great impression. Everybody he touches, you come away with a great impression of him, and it's very sincere. There's nothing phony about it. He's just a great guy. And if you understand the way he grew up, you'd be surprised at that he could, you know, he didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Rick, can you talk a little about the positive impact a run to the Sweet 16 can have for your program beyond just this year?
You know, I don't really think of that. I just think of the next game. Like I told you yesterday when you asked me this question about last year, we really don't, it's not going to affect. Louisville basketball is the #1 revenue producer in college basketball. It has one of the top 10 traditions of all time. It's not going to change us to go to a Sweet 16. It's not going to change our program. We would love to be there. Louisville's Louisville. I mean, we're not VCU last year or Davidson a few years ago. It goes on a Cinderella run. Louisville's always going to have great tradition. They have 22,000 season ticket holders. It's one of the great programs in all of college basketball, so it's probably not going to change us a whole lot. But thanks for asking that.
Coach Adam Lefkoe, WHS in Louisville. I spoke with Gorg after the Big East tournament, and he said the same thing that you said about Peyton Siva, that you taught him not to be a people pleaser and how to be tough and how that's how you're successful in life. How do you teach toughness?
Well, he's got toughness. I'm just saying he just, you know, these kids go through something different than me. I've told you guys from Louisville a long time ago, I don't pay too much attention to you. Not because I don't respect you as media people. It's just that I just have total blinders on. I don't read what you write. I don't watch what you say. I don't get on I wouldn't even know how to get on a message board in my life. And the reason that it distracts you from being positive, because, you know, you just can't listen to them. I mean, if you're President Obama, you would never turn on Fox News. And, you know, if you're a Republican candidate, you never turn on MSNBC and listen to these people because you would. So with Peyton, in today's world of social networking, every game he's getting 15 texts and this and that, and this one's saying this and this one's saying that, and I said, Peyton, you got to start to develop some toughness and block all that out because it's not good. It's not good you're not going to stay positive. You're going to think you're failing all the time if you just listen to that. And I just hope he listened to that. Whether he did or not, I don't know. But we had a long talk about it.
Rick, we talked a lot last year kind of about scouting reports and how you like things done. At this point in the season, do you take the lead role now in scouting every opponent, or is it still more you delegate?
I scout the opponent, but it's in Richard's hands. He's the main guy. We all do our job, and we all learn each opponent. But, normally we share the responsibilities, but I've got a new staff. So Richard's handled 95% of the scouting this year, and not much is going to change. He is someone that's going to watch 20 games where I'll watch 5 to 7 games.
Coach, you don't have the length of, let's say, a Syracuse, and you have a 6'4", Kyle Couric, yet your defense is able to limit the outside shot so well. What is it about the defensive intensity that's been so successful all year?
Well, I think the last couple of years we realized we have some shortcomings in certain areas offensively, and we realized if we want to win a lot of games and be a good basketball team, we've got to get it done at the defensive end. And the guys have done a great job all season with that. We rebounded very well last night. We did a lot of smart, good things at the defensive end, and it's happened that way for most of the season. I think with the exception of Providence, I don't think we had a bad defensive game.
Any further questions? Great, thanks.
Thank you.